one lecture.
Oh, bet, yeah. Agree, Joseph. You're winning a pat. You can't get rid of it.
All right, so despite the giggling on the front row, we are actually going to work on this today.
We are working, we just need your help.
I'm going to help you.
If I don't laugh, I'll cry.
Don't cry.
Yeah, don't confuse
It'd be
me.
really hard to flip these desks.
That's how angry she is.
No, we're not going to do that. No, we're not going to do that. Because the computers are attached to the desk,
Oh, yeah,
so.
she did respond. Oh, yeah.
All right, so
She responded with two.
I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm not giving you the answers.
Roar.
That's not really a little bit different at all. You like the idea? Okay, that's fine. You can like the idea, but it's not happening. So part 3 is where I want to talk a little bit about today. I know some of you just going to talk, and then I'm going to help you with part 2 after I get the video done, where that people online can have the experience of my knowledge at this point. All right, you don't want to help this other people, that's fine. Anyway, you're going to listen. So part 3 is the one that says that you can't get any help from anybody but me on. Right? Right? So I feel like I should give you some help. Y'all should tell me that the screen's not on.
The screen's not on.
What am I gonna do when you guys are not in my class to be so helpful? Okay. All right, it's fine. So part 3 has you doing several things. And it's a little sneaky because it doesn't tell you straight out that you have to do several things, right? Then it's bullet pointed off for you. But so you have to add some functionality. So when the user clicks the window to exit the application, that it will then ask them to redo, right? Or to do it again. We did this something similar to this in my assignment 6. We had to play the game again. So you might have to move the exit on click command inside of an if statement or some other logic. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Or maybe you don't want exit on click, you want something else. That on click you want to trigger either exiting or play it again. So honestly, if I was doing this, even though it's the first thing in part 3, it'd probably be the last thing I do. That's just the way my brain works. I figure out how to get everything else working first. Just because it's in there in a certain order doesn't mean you have to program it in that order. Now you have to do the parts in order, but you don't have to do the individual pieces inside each part in order. All right, so that's the first thing it says it wants you to do. The second thing it wants you to do is add functionality to create a Simon game filter. And what it does is it divides the picture up into quadrants, and then it applies a filter to that quadrant, right? So what I would do here is I would create a whole new function that does the Simon game portion of it. To break it up into quadrants means you're going to have each quadrant's going to have its own set of for loops. Right? Make sense? And then it's going to randomly put one of the washes into those loops. those quadrants. That look is just pitiful. All right. So the first thing I would do is figure out how to break it into quadrants and just automatically just set it to a different color. Remember, your functions can call other functions. So maybe you make each quadrant its own new little picture, and then you call one of your washes, right? Yeah. At least to test it until you got all of the quadrants back together. I see a lot of really confused faces. All right. And once you do that, and you get it broken into the quadrants, and you have it predefined doing it, you know, green, red, yellow, and blue, then you can go back and figure out how to randomly tell it what color to put in there. I was expecting more questions. How many of y'all have even got through part 2? One of you, okay, 2 of you. Or you got most of part 2. Okay, that's a little better. That makes me feel better. Huh?
We had it, but apparently our black and white just stopped working. Well, it works, but it's not doing black and white. Put it in any color.
Mine's just doing it before it starts.
Okay. I have a pretty good idea what yours is. All right, so part 3 absolutely does not have to be done. If you get all of part 2 done, you're going to get an 88 with no problem. If you get any of part 3 done, I will give you partial credit. So if the random doesn't work, but you got the Simon thing working, you're going to get part of that 12 points. Or if the do it again part works, but the Simon game doesn't work, you're going to get part of those points. How many of those points you're going to get for each one? I don't know. I have to sit down and divide it up. But generally speaking, it's 12 points. You're going to get part of those points for each one. The Simon part is much harder, in my opinion, than the play again. So probably will give you 3 or 4 points for the play again part. And the rest of the points will go to how much of the Simon game you got working. Does that make sense? All right. So questions on this before I start answering questions on part 2. And I'm going to give you a hint real quick in part 2. So if anybody watches the part 3 video and they're in class today, I'm going to help you get the picture to the right size. All right. So let's go back up here to getting the picture to be the right size. It's in part 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So there's a command that was in the slides that told you how to create, almost in all of them, you create a new picture and you get width and height. Well, you also can do that with the window, where the window is the same size as the picture. So if you go look up the window commands, you can set the window size not to be the default by adding in parameters, because it's an overloaded function. There is one that takes a height and a width. The only problem is it also takes the title of the window. So you don't have to put all of the parameters in there. It'll let you leave some of them out. So if you just put height and width in there, it assumes that the first one is the title. So if you look at the top, your X value will be in the little title of the window. And then it only streaks up the width of the picture, which is actually your Y value. It's actually not the right value. So if you leave a blank space, a comma, and then do your height and your width, you get the right size. Or if you put the file name, comma, height and width and height, whatever, then you'll get the right size. Yes? Does that make sense? Some of you were looking at me like I just solved the whole world for you. So some of you were not. Mhm. Or when you create the window, if you go up to,
Just like window equals image size, which one?
right, so you could do window equals window dot,
Image size. But in the primary. So like it'll be window equals window dot.
and then, yeah. Try putting parameters in there. All right, so that's the very, very short video for today. I am available via email all through the week. This is not due till Tuesday, at our normal time. You can email me with questions about any part of it. I will be in and out of my office today because I do have something else to work, but I should be in my office on Friday from 1 to 3. I will be online, available online Thursday. I have some advising appointments going on Thursday online, but I will work around those to get with you if you want to do a video chat. So I'm going to stay in here till 10:30 today and answer questions. And online students, please email me and set up an appointment or set up time to chat if you need it. All right. That's